Yo, what's up, guys? It's your favorite YouTuber. Back at it again with another video. This one's gonna be a banger. We're gonna be going through the 5 levels of Geekbar hell. It's the 4th of July. I drove home drunk. I didn't see any cops on the way back, but on the last turn to my house, I seen a cop car and a dude kneeling down praying. So I think someone OD'd. And I also think that person's kind of like Jesus. What I mean by that is this person sort of like bared my sins, bared my cross for me. Otherwise, I would have definitely had a DUI right now. They kind of took the heat off of me. I think that's proof that there's a reason I'm here. And that reason is to show y'all the levels of Geekbar hell. I'm not condoning anything. In fact, quite the opposite. But that doesn't really matter. I don't care. Without further ado, let's get into it, bro. Alright, level 0 is obviously the uninitiated. These are for the people that haven't felt the holy power of nicotine. And ignorance is really bliss, bro. It's Geekbar hell for a reason. Don't forget that. This is sort of the sheep. They were told drugs are bad and they listened. This is basically what would happen if Adam and Eve didn't eat the forbidden fruit. And good on them, bro, because they're not aware of the bliss and the hell that would await them. There's not really much else I could say about this person, so I'm gonna just move on to level 1. Level 1 is purgatory, bro. This is basically the stage before you actually enter into the gates of hell. And this is very similar to the uninitiated, but there's a key difference. They're curious, and that curiosity will eventually turn into their downfall into the depths. You know, who knows how deep they'll go, only time will tell. You could eventually go back to level 0. It all just depends. But from the beginning, their fate is sealed. I put a picture of a cliff on this level because you're kind of standing at the edge. You could just turn around after looking at the cliff, but most fall in after gazing at its awe. I fell into this trap easy. Oh, it's just one hit, bro. It doesn't matter. I just want to try it out. You've heard this story over and over and over and over, but really it's a lot more sneaky than you're thinking. Your mind will tell you little tricks like a bug in your ear. And here's where I'm going to go a little bit into my own experience. So basically, when Zins kind of first came out, bro, I was hearing about the rumors. I was getting a little curious, you know. But the biggest thing that set me over just to try it was everyone was calling me a bitch if I didn't. And I'm not a bitch, bro, so I tried it. And I could say this is the point that sealed my fate. But really, I'd argue, nah. I tried it, and it was weird, bro. It just, like, kind of made me dizzy. I wasn't really feeling it. And that made me think, nah, I can't get addicted to this. So I just stopped, bro. I didn't have it again. It wasn't until months later that I was offered, bro. I was like, fuck it, yeah, I'll do that shit again. And that's where I believe my fate was sealed. As soon as you say, I don't give a fuck, that's when you're caught in her grasp, bro. She's got you and she's not letting go easy. It's only a matter of time, bro. You make this gamble on your life, it's only a matter of time before you go into the depths. Alright, let's move on from that level. I don't really want to talk about it. It makes me miss the good old days when I was running around all childish and happy and playing with butterflies. Little did I know of the horrors that would await me. Alright, number 2, bro. Duality. This is where things start to get a little more interesting. But to be real with you, I don't even know why I wrote this. I'm gonna have to remember. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Duality is some real schizo shit. Actually, I remembered, bro. This is kind of hard to explain. But basically, when you get into it, bro, you're living the Vape Nation lifestyle, you start to notice a pattern of bliss and a pattern of misery, a pattern of highs and a pattern of lows, life, death, and rebirth. And what I mean by this is you hit the geek bar and you feel lit, and then you don't have the geek bar and you feel like shit. So you notice this pattern and you try to do something about it. But then here comes the problem. It also works in inverse. You don't hit the geek bar, you feel like shit. You hit the geek bar, you feel like shit. Or, I mean, you feel good again, but for like a little bit. If you take a long break and you go back to it, you genuinely feel like the president, bro. You feel like Obama. You feel like the GOAT. But then you get dragged right back into misery. Like, oh, damn, I did it again, bro. I wasn't supposed to do that. And then you remember why you wanted to stop in the first place. But you can't. You're caught. The pull is too strong and your will is too little. Most actually probably don't get past this level. They might live their whole lives in this level, or you might end up back in purgatory for the rest of your life, or back to zero, you know. It goes all different ways. But then you might be thinking, Why is there so many other levels, Broken Gifted? Well, don't worry, Daddy's gonna show you. Alright, let's get into level 3. Base Level Fiend. For the level 0 viewers at home, have you ever seen or had a friend maybe that literally can't live without the vape? Like they turn into like a genuine goblin or something. They're like completely possessed. You're like, how does that even happen? Like they lose it in the back seat and they almost freak out more than if they would have lost their phone or wallet. It doesn't make any logical sense. And that's because it's something that can only be experienced and not understood. The Geekbar just puts the cloak over your face and you're blind. It's kind of impossible to explain, but I think I found a way to show y'all. If you think of the Geekbar as a beautiful woman or furry or whatever you're into, imagine this girl's like really mysterious and you start shooting glances and she's shooting glances back. Like you were just kind of curious and you weren't even really expecting anything, but you end up having the night of your life. I don't even know where I'm going with this shit, bro. So like imagine, you know, you hit her up, you get her number or whatever, you hit her up, the next time you link, it's like, it's kind of lit. You kind of realize that she's just a normal person, you know, and not the fantasy that you had inside your head, or not like that first night. And so she turns out to be just kind of mundane, bro. So you're like, you know, you gave me all this energy, like what's going on, bro? Yeah, I think I'm gonna just try to find this somewhere else. So then you leave, right? And then she hits you back up. Like she keeps calling, she keeps spamming you, bro. And you're like, damn, this is kind of annoying, but I'm gonna just see what happens, I guess. And then it's lit again. And you're like, damn, I want that shit again. You guys hear what I'm saying, or do I just sound stupid? Like you stay around it too long and it's just mundane or even horrible. Like it's the most toxic relationship ever. So you try to find that somewhere else, but you just can't find that spark that you had with her anywhere. So she hits you up late at night for a booty call. And you're like, damn. And then it's lit again, and then the cycle continues. This will cause you to be a fiend, bro. That's why all these people are in denial and they're just completely hypnotized. I don't know if that makes any sense at all, but that's just the best way I can explain it. Alright, enough yapping, bro. Move on to 4. 4 is when you just completely give up all hope. Like you're ride or die for this demoness Geekbar woman, and you just accept these ups and downs of life, and you decide to live with her for eternity. These are the people that get discharged from the hospital with lung cancer and they're like, you know, fuck it, give me a cigarette. To the outside, this sounds completely insane, but for them, it's like, what's even a life without the Geekbar woman? Because the truth is, no one else can ignite that spark like she can. And that's genuinely the truth, bro. Like, there's no other way to get out of this hell except for letting go of that completely and never experiencing it again. But not only that, I'm gonna keep going with this stupid relationship metaphor or whatever. It's kind of like you're also letting go of a part of yourself. A part of yourself when you're around this amazing Geekbar woman. Like you try to stop hanging out with her, bro, and you just look at all of your life differently. You're like, damn, I remember when we used to go on walks in the park and on the beach, and when we used to have fun drives with the windows down, and that time where you comforted me in my trauma and showed me how to have fun and live a little. That's why a lot of people would rather die than quit. Because quitting at this stage is basically dying because a part of yourself is leaving forever. But that's really just growth and you lingering on to the past. It's not even real. It's just something made up by your mind. Another trick by the succubus Geekbar woman. She's so bad, bro. I'm not even gonna lie. Alright, let's move on to the last one. This is as deep as it goes as far as I know. This can go a couple different ways, but regardless, you're just completely lost in the sauce, bro. This is when the bar has wholeheartedly taken over your life. It's when you start having thoughts like, no, I've let go of it because I've let go of everything. And without the Geekbar, there's nothing to live for. This could look like chronic Geekbarring. Basically, when you try to speedrun cancer so that you could go to Geekbar heaven. Some say if you hit the Geekbar enough, you'll actually find the Geekbar woman when you die. But this is all just speculation and no one technically knows. My personal speculation, behind this facade there's a great monster, and the monster can only exist by feeding off of the souls of the damned, which are obviously the level 5ers. Level 5ers go to the extreme, forcibly ODing on Geekbar just so that they can get the highest amount of bliss possible, vomiting everywhere and just praying that they can get a step closer to their goddess. At this point, death is arguably better, for the bar has completely taken over the mind, and the soul is trapped in the endless loop until taken forcibly forcibly. Things get really dark in this level. You can catch level 5ers worshiping the bar, even struggling to sleep because they need a hit while they dream. I've only seen a couple, but elite mages hook up an oxygen tank, but instead of oxygen, it's geek juice. At night, they pray that the geek will take them in their sleep so that they could put an end to this eternal torment. Alright, that's like all I have to say, so like that's the end of the video, I guess. Except for like don't hit the geek bar, that shit is lame, bro. And if you're trying to quit, like I guess my advice is like get someone else to help you, because clearly you don't have like accountability if you've tried it and it doesn't work. So if you have someone else that can be helpful. I forgot I'm supposed to be trolling, bro, so don't, or just do whatever you want, bro. I'll see y'all. I love you.
Yeah, I think you really need to go back to school.
Yeah, I just wanna go to Geekbar heaven. Been here to Geekbar since 11. I've been here to Geekbar since 7. My plug is a local gas station. Need a Geekbar, I got no patience. In a hospital, O's are my patience. In the stars in a Geekbar station. Need a Geekbar, I got no complacence. Need a Geekbar, I got no complacence. Hit a Geekbar all of my places. Geekbar heaven, so I'm finna lace this. And go to Geekbar heaven.